Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Mindy here and it is freezing where I live. We've been hovering in the low to mid single digit temperatures and it is cold. I hope wherever you are staying warm. I'm trying to do so by some of these cozy fragrances that I have here beside me. Today I wanted to talk about fragrances that give me that warm, cozy, comforting feeling when temperatures are low and it's cold. So, I do want to share that a lot of these fragrances do have vanilla in them. Vanilla is one of those notes that just makes me feel warm and cozy, and I'll take that one step further. A lot of them actually have bourbon vanilla in them, and there's something about bourbon vanilla that I just really enjoy in my fragrances. So I will call that out for the fragrances that have it. And without further ado, let's get started. So first on my list is El de Lolita by Lolita Lempicka. This has tonka bean, vanilla, and sandalwood, but the one thing about this fragrance that makes it very warm and cozy to me is the added note of cinnamon. And a lot of people actually compare this to Lyra by Zara, and I do think they're very similar. I think I might prefer Lyra. I have a sample, but I don't have a full bottle. Lyra just seems a little more well-rounded, it seems a little bit softer, it feels a little bit more refined, but this is also a very beautiful scent. This fragrance has quite the following. A lot of people really love it, and I was sort of pressured into buying it after seeing all of the reviews of people that love it. Probably around 9 months ago, I had gotten the sense that this was going to be discontinued, or I had seen that it was being discontinued. So I did want to add it into my collection knowing that so many people love this fragrance. And while it's not one of my favorites, it certainly is one that I reach for in the cooler weather. The next scent that I reach for in these cooler weather temperatures is Rich Warm Addictive by Zara, and it is just that. It is addictive. I find myself sniffing this over and over again. This is a very affordable fragrance that has notes of rum, peony, and bourbon vanilla, and it does smell very, very boozy to my nose. This is one that I reach for in the evening oftentimes, and it does suffer from poor longevity, if you ask me. It doesn't last for a long time on my skin, which is why I do like to reach for it at bedtime because it's comforting and cozy, and I fall asleep pretty easy when I have this on. The next scent that I like to reach for in the winter is Hypnotic Poison by Dior. And this is a vanillic almond scent, and some people actually say this smells Play-Doh-y, which I don't get, but also like root beer. And I can see where they're coming from when they say this smells like root beer. This settles into my skin as a warm, vanilla, almondy, slightly woody scent. This does feel a little seductive to me, but it is a very beautiful, cozy, warm, gourmand scent for the winter time. I don't find myself spraying this as much in the summer, but certainly one that I reach for in the winter. Next on my list is Mon Guerlain Intense. I've mentioned this before. This is one that has sort of a warm, woody feel with lavender in it. And in this particular version, this is the Intense. The vanilla is amped up a little bit. And while I do appreciate several of the Mon Guerlains, I have samples of the original. I also have the Mon Guerlain Sensuelle. This is one that I reach for a little bit more in the cooler weather months. This has more depth to it, and I find it to be slightly more interesting than the original. And personally, I love vanilla in my scents, so when that's amped up, I definitely enjoy scents that have that profile. The next scent on my list is by the Fireplace, and this scent is absolutely true to that name. It is very literally taken. It smells exactly like you are sitting by a fireplace, or it's in the summer months and you're all sitting around a campfire. It smells beautiful. But if you don't like the scent of a campfire, a literal campfire, you might not like this fragrance. It has pink pepper, orange blossom, and cloves at the top, chestnut, guaiac wood, and juniper in the mid, and the vanilla, Peru balsam are what stand out to me in the base. It has sort of a resinous feel, a very woody feel to it, and this is one of those fragrances that just transports you to a different place, a different time. It makes me think of the warm summer nights with cool evenings, a fire going, but in the cold winter months, if that makes sense. And as you can tell, I have a splash. I bought a sampler set from the Replica line. And I wear this primarily when it's very, very cold out. So you can see there's not much of a dent in this, and it is only a splash, which I don't love. I wish it was a spray, but certainly this is one that I reach for the coldest of cold days, and one that is absolutely full bottle worthy in my mind. This is one that when this is gone, I will be buying a full bottle because this scent is just so enjoyable. And it truly transports me to a place that I love to be in the summer months and gets me into that cozy, warm vibe. Next on my list is Kayali Vanilla 28. And I've spoken about this before. This is such a warm, cozy, comforting scent. I think most people would enjoy this fragrance. It was not love at first sniff for me. I bought a sample, I put it on my skin and didn't feel like it was unique initially, but I found myself craving it a little bit. And as I put it on my skin more, I started to crave it more often. To me, this is a grown-up vanilla, not dated. It's not dated in the sense that it might be more mature. I don't feel that way at all, but it's not your simple run-of-the-mill vanilla. It has more depth to it. And I love that about it. This is one I love to reach for in the winter, but this is one that can be worn year-round. I could see somebody choosing this as their signature scent because it's just an easy to wear fragrance and it's a beautiful one at that. Next on my list is Angel Muse, and this is the EDP. So I had mentioned the EDT before, and that has passion fruit. This one has more depth and is heavier for me. So this one, to my nose, is better for the cold winter months. This scent is woody. It is definitely spicy. You get that spice when you spray it, and it smells like hazelnut spread, basically Nutella, when it dries down on your skin. And it's an absolutely beautifully stunning scent. One thing I'll say about this fragrance is I think you have to give it time on your skin. I could see how somebody would spray this and it would not be love at first sniff. It does feel a little bit overpowering, and for this one, the magic happens, like many other scents, the magic happens in the dry down for me. This dries down beautifully and it becomes an intoxicating, addictive scent, and one that's just heavy enough, warm and cozy enough for the winter months. So next on my list is Coffee Break by Replica. For whatever reason, Replica seems to have some beautifully wonderful scents for the cold weather, and this is another one that I absolutely gravitate towards. And I would have never picked this up if I hadn't seen a couple people on YouTube talk about it. I've seen Katrina Waldron and Zane Antoinette talk about this scent, and I'm so glad I did. And I'm so glad I picked this up. In fact, one of my biggest regrets is getting the small size because I do think this is absolutely full bottle worthy, and I will be getting a full bottle in the future. So this was love at first sniff, but while it's called Coffee Break, I did not pick up on the coffee at first. Just like coffee, this is addictive, and it is warm, it's cozy, it's sweet, but not overly so. I get coffee now from it, and I think why I didn't pick it up at first was because it was mixed in with lavender. It's a little bit lactonic. It didn't feel super coffee heavy from the start, but now that I've been wearing it, I absolutely pick up on that. There's lavender, there's coffee, there's milk, there's tonka bean, there's benzoin, and then in the base is vanilla, cedar, and vetiver. And this is so beautifully blended, and maybe that's why I didn't pick up the coffee note there at the start. It's beautifully blended into this just lovely perfume, and I'm enjoying it so much. This is unisex, and I could see both a man and a woman really, really enjoying this. I wish it had just a little bit more longevity, but again, I'll buy a full bottle and I won't feel so guilty about that midday spray that I mentioned before. And this is one that will probably make it higher on my list as I wear this more because I truly, really love wearing this scent. Okay, next on my list is Eau Duelle by Diptique. And this is probably one of the most shocking fragrance buys of mine in 2021. I was completely caught off guard by how much I love this. This is aromatic, but it's sort of a spicy vanilla. It's a little bit fresh, but it is addictive. This is one of those fragrances that was absolutely a love at first sniff for me. I'm gonna go ahead and spray it here. The moment I sniffed it, I absolutely loved it. If you're looking for a unique vanilla for your collection, this is definitely one to try. And as I mentioned, I really seem to gravitate towards that bourbon vanilla note. And this one has it. It has bourbon vanilla, it has elemi resin, cardamom, juniper, pink pepper, black tea, ambergris, bergamot, saffron, and musk. And I find this scent to be so beautifully blended. Another one that I'm reaching for a lot at this point in time, and while this doesn't necessarily fall in line with what I would think of as a really cozy, warm vanilla, it's a little bit different because it has that sort of spiciness and it has sort of this green feel to it. It is cozy and it is comforting to me, and one that I'm really enjoying through these winter months. I couldn't go through this list without including La Nuit Tresor à la Folie. I mentioned before, this is a perfect 10 out of 10 for me. I love this scent. This scent will always be in my collection. I have a backup bottle and it is addictive. It also has bourbon vanilla, tonka bean, patchouli, a lot of those things that I really enjoy in a scent. And this one is just addictive to my nose. It is a soft scent, so I don't think you'll get a ton of sillage out of this one. This is one that I spray throughout the day from time to time if I really want to top it off and get the scent, but I don't think you have to do that. I think it stays close to the skin, but I do think it's one that you can still smell throughout the day. This has a little bit of woodiness, it has a little bit of sweetness, and the tiniest bit of smokiness. Not so much like the original La Nuit Tresor, it's slightly muted in comparison, but just one of my favorite scents, and I love reaching for this. So if you like bourbon vanilla, if you like patchouli, if you like tonka bean, this is definitely one to try out and see if it's for you. Okay, and the last scent that I wanted to mention today is Spiritueuse Double Vanille by Guerlain. This is another one that makes me feel extremely cozy and warm and comforted. It is a stunning scent. In fact, it's another 10 out of 10 for me. I have a handful of 10 out of 10 fragrances. This is definitely one that meets the list. I just bought the fragrance, and so today was the first time that I unboxed it. And here is the beautiful bottle. This is one that I tested back in June of last year, like all of us have been doing. I learned the hard way not to blind buy all of my fragrances. And so I started sampling, and I sampled Guerlain Spiritueuse Double Vanille as well as Angelique Noir, and I enjoyed them both, but I had written in my notes that this one was mediocre. I can't believe I called this fragrance mediocre, but I think it's just a testament to the fact that you really need to try fragrances. I think you have to acclimate to them. You have to wear them on your skin and get familiar with them. And once you get familiar with the scent profile, they can grow on you. And that was absolutely the case with this fragrance for me. The notes in this fragrance are pink pepper, bergamot, and incense. In the mid are ylang ylang, cedar, and rose. And then at the base is benzoin, vanilla, and rum. And this is a very sophisticated, elegant, but boozy vanilla, and a very unique vanilla, one I haven't smelled before. Again, this is very refined. If you're looking for a basic vanilla, this is not it, but it's absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful fragrance. After testing it more and more, I started to realize there was something very special about this fragrance. At first, I was sort of on the fence. I didn't quite get it. I wore it a couple days later. It really started to grow on me, and by midday, I was craving it. And I started exploring getting a full bottle at the time, but the price is very expensive, and I wasn't ready to make that jump yet. And so I started exploring clone houses, and I did actually bring into my collection a clone of this fragrance by Alexandria Fragrances called Vanilla Doree. And while I liked Vanilla Doree, it just simply didn't feel the same to me. It had a very similar dry down, but I just didn't get the booziness. It was more sort of like a tobacco scent to my nose, And this is definitely more of a refined, boozy scent. And after that, I got another sample. I kept thinking to myself, do I really need this? Do I really want to spend the money on this fragrance? And ultimately, in December, after using the sample time and time again, I found myself craving it and reaching for it regularly. I decided to add it to my collection. And so Neiman Marcus had a great sale. I brought it into my collection despite many stocks that I wanted to buy. And I don't regret adding this to my collection. I think most people would enjoy this scent, and to me, to my nose, it is very unisex. I think a man could wear this, a woman could wear this. I could see some people saying this is a little bit more masculine. I could see some people saying it's a little more feminine. To me, it really is right down the middle. I think anybody could wear this fragrance, and I think everybody who does wear this fragrance will enjoy it. This is absolutely one that I recommend that you test before you buy. It is too expensive for most people to do a blind buy, but it is one that I enjoy and one that keeps me warm and cozy through these winter months. So thanks for watching my video. That's all I have. These are all fragrances that I absolutely love in these cold, frigid winter months. They keep me warm, cozy, and comforted. I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, see you soon.